Happy New Year. Now, TikTok has recently had some drama calling out this TikTok account, That Catholic Girl, for supposedly shaming brides and calling them ugly in this viral TikTok. And she also did respond to this viral TikTok that you may have seen, and we'll look at her response towards the end of the video. So, point of view, you've embraced Christian modesty and your wedding is coming up. Very exciting. But you hated the immodest wedding dress trend. Okay, that's personal opinion. So you designed your own wedding dress and had it made for you. Great, that's exciting. And on your big day, you became a testament to the fact that modesty and beauty are compatible. That's not necessarily a bad message for anyone who is into modesty. And then the infamous slide, for there is nothing uglier than an immodest bride who leaves nothing to the imagination. Oh boy. Now, the first thing I noticed for this is that the comments in response to this are surprisingly not attacking her like most comment section do, but in fact, they just tend to lean towards people talking about the wedding dresses they are excited for that presumably this TikToker might be referring to when she uses the term immodest. For example, can't wait for my backless wedding dress. I'm a dude, but I suddenly cannot wait for my immodest wedding dress. Hearts. Can't wait for my green backless lace wedding dress. My wedding dress will be a two-piece swimsuit with a frilly skirt. I can't wait for my strapless backless wedding dress with a slit on the side. Modesty is more than looks, it's a mindset, blah, blah, blah. Excited for my black wedding dress that has a thigh slit and I'll be wearing 5 months pregnant. You get the idea. It's a lot of people just saying what their wedding dress is going to be because presumably, at least from this slide, we can assume that the TikToker probably would find those wedding dresses immodest. And that's probably what she is referring to here. Now, That Catholic Girl, the original person that posted this TikTok, did respond to this with this comment that said, "Nowhere did I judge anyone or call anyone out. You all are the ones doing the judging." Danny Joseph has the top comment. It says, "Girl, you did crying face. Deadass like we saw you. Not only did we see it, but it is still there." Loud and clearly she did. Like, how can you be so bold when we're literally looking at the slide? She's panicking skull face. Now, this whole situation led to TikToks like this one that you may have seen. Which I think is kind of how we all felt. And it's pretty funny. Now, the backlash did become large enough that the creator did post a response, and we're going to look at that in a second. But first, I just want to say it feels like this is a weird fight to pick, especially online. Like, your wedding dress is absolutely beautiful. You look great in it, and you could have just left it there. This last slide is entirely unnecessary. Using your wedding day to like blanket attack other brides in their wedding dresses is just wild. Plus, and I even did an image search to verify that I'm correct, most wedding dresses are pretty modest, and they tend to cover more than other common dress styles like clubbing dresses, cocktail dresses, formal dresses, and so on. Just like going through those, like most of them, sure, some of them have backs, but a lot of them cover most everything, and they don't leave much to the imagination. Now, the creator did respond to the backlash with this TikTok that we're going to be going through and talking about. We're starting at 42 seconds because the first part of it is her just saying that she didn't expect it to blow up, that people are misinterpreting her, and that she's going to explain what she meant in the video, so let's see what she has to say. Also, the audio for this TikTok is super quiet, so I've turned it up in my OBS screen recorder, and I'll turn it up in post if I can, but it might be a little scuffed, but there's also subtitles you can read.
So this is the picture that's caused all the problem. I wrote, "For there is nothing uglier than an immodest bride who leaves nothing to the imagination." I got comments that said, "Why should I dress modestly so that people can imagine me naked?" What I said, to leave nothing to the imagination, is an idiomatic expression. It's not literal.
Now, the first thing she says is that she's defending an idiomatic expression. And I mean, obviously, I think we all kind of knew that, but the point still stands that what people are mad about are primarily her calling immodest wedding dresses ugly. And also, she says that a lot of people were saying, "Why should I dress modestly so that people can imagine me naked?" And so I was confused by that because I hadn't seen that in any of the comments that I looked over. So I made a very good faith effort scrolling through lots of these comments. As you can see, many of them have already been loaded. And I really can't find anyone who's saying anything even remotely similar to that. I tried to do a word search, but it doesn't let me do that on TikTok for some reason. But I can't find anyone who's saying, "Why should I dress modestly so that people can imagine me naked?" There basically wasn't a single comment about that. This feels more like a straw man defense where she's trying to make up these unreasonable TikTokers to try and make her post seem more reasonable by comparison. Do with that information what you will. Now, she goes on and talks about that for a bit with the next interesting thing she says popping up.
Anybody unfairly. I didn't pronounce judgments on anybody. I didn't call out anybody. I just painted a picture of an extreme. My post is not about judging anyone, including myself, as good or evil, or good or bad. I'm just a simple Catholic lady who believes in modesty and who preaches modesty.
So this is her main argument, that she was calling out an extreme and she wasn't judging anyone or anything specifically. Now, personally, when I look at this last slide, it does feel kind of judgmental. But I think a reasonable person could disagree, and if that's you, that's just fine. Feel free to disagree. I think people's main issue with the post still stands because they felt like she was judging them or any brides she came across that had immodest wedding dresses according to whatever standard she has. But her explanation continues here.
People in the comments section implied that I was imposing my beliefs or my standards on other women. That is not true. I did no such thing. I understand that
it's technically true, I guess, that she didn't directly impose any of her beliefs or religious values on other people, but imagine me saying something like, there's nothing uglier than a person that doesn't work out enough. You might then come to me and say, wow, it's wild that you would blanket attack people that don't work out enough as ugly. And I'd be like, I didn't say that. I never defined who was and wasn't working out enough. And I never said what specifically, is good enough or not good enough for working out. But you get the idea. I said the thing and then immediately tried to use the specific phrasing of the thing in order to pull it back and make it not seem so bad. Even though if I were to say something like, there's nothing uglier than people that don't work out enough, then there would be a general understanding of who I was talking about. Presumably, I would be calling people who were out of shape ugly or less than, and that's wrong. And that's essentially what's happening here. She spends the next few minutes of the video really talking about how she was just painting an extreme and wasn't specifically judging people, and she throws in some Bible verses about judgment and so on and so forth. And then she ends it off by saying this.
So, what is extreme? I made that.
Sorry, I watch everything on 2x speed.
That post to encourage girls, future brides who want to dress modestly on their wedding day to do so. That was why I made that post. You have options, and dressing modestly is a very good option.
And that phrasing right there is actually pretty good. And I think it would have been awesome if that's actually what the last slide had said. There's nothing wrong with validating and encouraging people who want to dress modestly for their wedding. But that's really not what she did. If we take one more look at this last slide, when I read, for there's nothing uglier than an immodest bride who leaves nothing to the imagination, I don't get positive, uplifting, encouraging young girls who want to do something maybe that's a little non-traditional for their wedding. I get negative attacking vibes. When you use words like uglier, immodest, nothing to the imagination, it gives off a negative connotation. I don't read positivity in this post, nor do I think does almost anyone that's reading this post. The images created in my mind are ones of her judging people who have maybe low backs or plunging necklines in their wedding dresses or as part of their wedding attire, and that just comes off as kind of icky to me. So that's what people are upset about. Let me know if you think the bride is misunderstood or went too far or is just doing this for some internet clout. Thanks for watching.